All right. Welcome to part 2. Okay, so in part 2, we are going to set up the Taranis QX7 or QX7s, or even just a normal Taranis radio. I believe if it's running OpenTX, a lot of the same information will apply. So let's get started. First, I'm going to talk about what all we're going to do here. I'm trying to do this as quickly as possible. I've kind of rehearsed it a few times. So the first thing what we want to do is create the new model. We're going to go over how to set up the channels for all the different switches and knobs. Then we're going to go into setting up the endpoints and directions for those channels. Then we're going to go further into setting up the governor on a 3-position switch. We're going to go into setting up the bailout on a momentary switch. We're going to go in and set up the tail gain on a knob. We're going to do some special functions in the radio, and I'll show you those. Some things to keep in mind. My helicopter rotor blades for the main and the tail are completely taken off. And the motor is disconnected, which is very important for setting up the governor. And right now I have power going to the IKON. I have 6 volts going into the IKON, which is also powering the servos. And the receiver, which is very important. My receiver is already bound to my radio. So this video assumes that you've already gone through that linking procedure. And this video is, again, more guided to setting up the radio than the IKON itself. This is a very important step in setting up the IKON, so follow closely and let's get started. So I'm going to switch to this camera now and we'll take a look at what's going on here. So right now I'm just in a random model. So I'm going to select a new model. Let's do 9. And we'll start to populate channel 9. So create model. We can choose airplane, that's fine. We really don't need to specify any of this setup information here at this time. We can just page right through it, leaving it at whatever the default is. Okay, and then it says long press enter to confirm. Okay, exit out of that little. Now I'm going to page over to my setup menu. I'm going to give it a name. Let's do this real quick. Okay, exit. Now that we've done that, I need to go and set my receiver number to be 3. This is not going to be correct for you. I know that I bound this radio and with the receiver number 3 to be receiver number 3, so I'm going to select that. Now I should have control. So now that my link is established here. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go into our. I'm going to do this video a certain way to just demonstrate where I ran into some challenges and how I overcame those challenges. So I'm going to go in like I normally would, and I'm going to set up my channels first. So I'm going to go into the Mixer tab, and right now my IKON is connected to my personal computer running the IKON software. Okay, now you should be able to see. All right. So if we look at the IKON software, and we also look here on the as I move this joystick, notice that whenever I move this joystick, if I move it to my right, it's going left in the software. So one of the things we're gonna do in a minute, we're gonna set our directions. But we're not going to worry about that right now. We're not going to worry about setting our directions. We're not going to worry about setting the endpoints just yet. We're going to go in and we're going to set up the rest of our channels. So right now we've got aileron, elevator, tail, which is rudder, and then we have throttle. So let's go down to channel 5 on our radio. Select that. And channel 5 is going to be, let's assign that to a knob. So whenever I highlight the source and then move a dial or a switch, it's going to automatically set the source to that. Okay, so now I have it set to S2. I'm going to deselect that. And so now if we look at the IKON software, I can now adjust the tail gain with this dial. Okay, great. So we can even give this a name. I'll name them all after I set them. Channel 6, let's find out what channel 6 is. So channel 6, if I assign channel 6 to a 3-position switch, so that's controlling pitch in the IKON software. So, well, we want the pitch to be on our throttle joystick. So I'm going to move the throttle joystick, and if you notice now, whenever I move the throttle joystick, pitch is moving in the IKON software. So we want that to be set to the throttle joystick. Okay. And we want, but at the same time we're controlling throttle in the IKON software, which is incorrect. So we need to go to channel 1, which is throttle. We need to edit this, and we need to set the source. And I'm going to set it up on this 3-position switch. Okay. So now we've got throttle on a 3-position switch. If I deselect this, and then we have pitch is controlled by the throttle joystick now, by itself. Okay, good. So if we go back, let's go to channel 7, and we want this to be on another 3-position switch. I'm going to choose this one right here. Okay, so, and then I'm going to deselect this. So now, if you look in the IKON software, this channel 7 is our flight modes or flight setup switch. So it can switch between setup 2, setup 1, and setup 3. Okay. And channel 8 controls the auxiliary channel. This is not required in order to fly, so we're not going to set that up. So I'm going to go in and name these now so we can keep track of what's what. So we know that channel 5 is our tail gain, and I set that up on this dial right here. Okay. So and that's that. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go into each one of these channels and edit the direction and endpoint. So to do this, we page over to the Outputs tab, and we can long press page to go back to the Mixer tab. and to reference our channels and what's controlling them. So we know that channel 2 is aileron. So if I page back over to the outputs and I select, and another way to tell which channel's what is you can move that control and watch these microseconds here change. So I know channel 2 is aileron. So I'm going to go into aileron, I'm going to edit, and I'm going to give this a, so right now, if I move that aileron joystick to the left, in the IKON software, it's moving right. So that needs to be reversed. So I'm going to go down here to direction, and I'm going to invert that. So now that when I move the joystick left, it moves in the software left and right is right. Okay? So let's do that for all of them here. So the channel 3, which is our rudder. And it looks like it's correct already, so we're not going to mess with that one. Let's do elevator. It needs to be reversed. So we're going to go to direction, reverse elevator. Channel 5, which is tail gain? Yeah, that I'm not worried about that one. It looks like it's going good. 6 is pitch, which is correct already, so we don't have to worry about that. And mode, we're going to leave mode alone as well. Alright, so now to change the endpoint, you just go exit, go back to the setup menu, which is here, scroll down until you see E-limits and check that box. Now if we go back into the outputs for aileron and we set this, now see we can go more negative. So the procedure for doing this is to hold full stick deflection in one direction for this control for aileron, and increase or decrease the min value or max value until you get to negative 100% for this direction. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to move the stick in the opposite direction, select the max value, and I'm going to increase this so we get 100% for this direction. Okay, great. So now we've successfully set our endpoints for the first channel, which in this case was aileron. So if we go back, we go to channel 3, which is rudder, edit. We're going to do the same thing for this, and we're going to do the same thing for pitch. We're going to do the same thing for tail gain and throttle, I believe. We'll get there. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Let's see. Too far. Okay. Looks good. And then we're going to do channel 6. Okay, so pitch is done. Elevator. Figure out which one it is. Oh, wait. Am I not adjusting the elevator here? I don't think so. So let's put these back. I was on 5, that's right. So channel 4 is pitch. Excuse me, elevator. So let's adjust accordingly. Alright, so that's this one, so I've got to go to... Alright. That looks good. So now everything is, well, let's do that. Is that everything? So let's do tail gain. So 5 is tail gain. So if I turn this knob all the way to the max, which is in my case to the right, I can choose to increase this to 100. And I won't worry about the min, because we're already getting the full range here in the IKON software. So let's proceed to the special functions now. That's it for setting up the directions and endpoints. So we're going to page over to special functions. And we're also going to monitor the governor's setup page here. And we're going to start a special function, and we're going to put it on this toggle switch here. And we're going to keep toggling it, toggle the switch until you see the arrow is pointing up. Okay. We want this switch to override channel 1 with a value of -150. And then we want to enable it. So this will put that channel at 0% when the switch is in the down position. So arm and disarm. Okay. So right now, if we look at the software, if I arm it, and now we're in the 95% of that channel needs to be, for that position of that switch needs to be 40%, center position needs to be 60, and the top position needs to be 85. And that's going to give you speed 1, speed 2, or speed 3, which are the governing predefined head speeds that you've calculated using the IKON software. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to go back to the outputs, and we're going to go into, so what controls throttle channel 1? Okay, so we're going to adjust the subtrim, min, and max accordingly until we get these 3 positions to be 40, 60, and 85. Alright, so we're going to do let's try doing the, let's see, the subtrim. We'll go into the position for 40, which is going to be, and I'll reverse the direction of this switch. Okay, so that down is 40, middle is 65 or 60, and then 85 would be the most furthest position away from me, which is high. Okay, so that's how I can remember it. Okay, so let's do, let's just start adjusting these. So let's start with min. So min isn't adjusting anything here, so stop adjusting and put it back. try the max. Okay, so max is, so I'm gonna adjust this until it, let's go 40. Okay, so what happens when we move the switch to the middle position? Okay, it's 48. Let's adjust our sub trim so that center is 60%. Okay, there it is. Let's go back to the first position. Oh, it is 40. 60, 95. So let's adjust the min and make that 80. Let's see. So we have 80, 60, and 40 on that 3-position switch. And whenever I take and I flip the throttle cut or disarm switch on the back here, the toggle, it's going to go to 0. Now we need to make sure and verify this, that it's 0 in all of those 3 positions, which it is. It's working like I want it. Great. So that's that. Great. Awesome. Cool. Flip that on. We're armed. 80, 60, and 40. Okay. So now we need to do one more thing under the special functions. We need to create a new special function, and we need to just set it to this momentary switch here. Okay. And you notice if I can make them go opposite or to get these arrows here on the arrows here on the screen. Make them where they will start. I think it's when they're both in the up position. So I can toggle this switch. Sorry. Move the momentary switch. Well, I think it's in that position. So we want to override our flight modes, channel 7. And we want to, in the icon software, navigate to the flight modes page here. Okay, good. And we've got our flight modes set up on this 3-position switch right now. Okay, if I now hold down this momentary, oh, well, I'll have to enable it first. So enable the special function. Hold down the momentary, and it looks okay. So it looks like it's not working like we want it to. So we need to adjust it. So if I'm in flight mode 1. I think I need to reverse this arrow here. That there. So I enable this switch. Okay, so then now it's working the way we need it to. So if you set this up like this, and you push the momentary switch and you hold it, it's gonna, right now it's going to mode 2. So we need to adjust this here. While you're holding the switch, adjust this until you get it into mode 3. Okay? And then you can keep adjusting this value, and it's anywhere, see where the switching point is. The switching point I think is at like 40. So anything above 45, it's going to put it in mode 3. So you can set this to like 75 to be safe. And so now you can let go of that momentary switch. And so now you should have, on the 3-position switch, you should have mode 1 being the furthest away from you, mode 2, the second one down, mode 3 in the furthest down position. And at the same time, if you're in mode 2, or 1, and you toggle this momentary switch, or initiate this momentary, it's going to put it in mode 3, regardless if it's in mode 1. Oh, wait. It is. It's working like it should. It's just, I got too close to my model and the radio disconnected. So that's a thing with this particular receiver. See, it just did it again. So it is working right. So mode 3, if I'm in 1, mode 2, it's going to go to 3, and then 3 is going to stay in 3. So that's how you set up the bailout. And so a little more to the bailout. My first and second flight modes do not have the rescue mode enabled. You can see here on the right hand side, they're disabled. But you want it to be enabled on the third flight mode, which is set up for rescue. Okay? I've got, and for mode 1, I have, it's full control over the model. There's no stabilization happening or auto leveling happening when I'm in that flight mode. I'll spend most of my time in that particular flight mode. Mode 2, I have it set up to stabilize, and then mode 3 is stabilize and rescue. So it'll do that short pitch duration that's predefined right here on these sliders to get me out of any hairy situations if I get too close to the ground. Okay, that is it. I hope this video was helpful to those who are watching. Please subscribe if you like my videos. I know this was a little bit of a long video, but I wanted to get as much information in here as possible, and this is kind of my new setup with the different camera perspectives, and I got a new microphone. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, thanks for watching.